Lanford Wilson, a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright, said to me years ago, he said, "You have to share this with people. You can't hide it. That's what we're here for." Almost 40 years later, it's as much a part of who I am as anything else, I guess. Maybe more so. I don't judge it as being less than any of the other things I do. It all comes from the same place. You're creating something only you can see, only you can hear, only you can find. And when it's done, you let it go. That's what I'm here for.
2 years ago, he sent me probably 70 demos of songs from over the span of maybe 30 years of his writing. There was some stuff from an old 2-track reel-to-reel tape recorder from 1982 that we went over, and from that list of 70 songs, we chose, about a dozen or so to work with in the studio.
I just think I wanted some young eyes and ears on this, and I told the both of them, Ben and Brad, I said, I want to hear what you hear. And I'd say 90% of what is on the CD is what they brought to it.
Yeah, it was great to see it all come together and it sounding right. And I mean, as far as I know, it all worked.
With those songs, the goal for me anyway was to really show the world what a great musician and songwriter and singer he really is.
There's an organic quality to Days Like These. The songwriting is completely different than anything before. I mean, he's a great wordsmith. And you've got, Brad Phillips, who is a very talented arranger and, working with Ben in the studio for months and months and months, bringing in Dominic Davis to play upright bass, who's a great musician in his own right.
Something like Hate the Speed, the way he sings it, and then Mad Cat Ruth comes in with the harmonica, and in one take he did that.
Arthur Miller, great American playwright. This is one of my creative mottos. He said once, I look forward to seeing what my work inspires in others.
It makes you question things, and it makes you wonder. If you can relate anything to it, that's perfect. I mean, being able to relate stuff to it without knowing what he meant when he was writing it, or finding your own meanings, or making you think, that's pretty good.
It's still simple. It still has the feel of Keep It Right Here, which is bass, mandolin, fiddle, and guitar, and me. But we've added some other things, but that's still out front. I still like that sound, that acoustic-driven sound, where you can't fake it, When Brad Phillips goes into a solo, you're hearing every note. We're not putting effects all over it. And I like the nakedness of that. Keep It Right Here had that, and Days Like These really has it.
Back when You're Into Me, we played it live and had Amanda sing instead of having my dad sing it. And that just made it a whole new song, and the audience loved it and were crying, and she did amazing, and it sounded great. And we recorded it live instead of track by track, isolated like the rest of the album. So that was the only song that was recorded at the new studio, and the only song that was recorded live.
Now You Know You Can was written as a kind of musical answer to that speech I had in Newsroom, the first episode of the first season, where I have all the college kids. There were 2 people from HBO there, all the producers, Aaron Sorkin, everybody was sitting right over there. You got 500 college kids. And I had worked on that thing, and Aaron had rewritten it a few times, but I just kept going over it and going over it and going over it, because you're only going to get this one day to do it. And they had to find out if there was a Will McAvoy, if we have a series, everything was riding up. action. And we went, and I just nailed it. And then Kim, the script supervisor, after that first take, she came over and she just said, now you know you can do it. And so the whole song is that moment.
I think the one that really jumps out at me is Wicked World. Sometimes when you hear a song for the first time, you know that it's a good one right away.
They all have their own emotion. They stand alone, and they all tell their own story, or you can feel the way he sings them. The lyrics fit.
Listening to the record from beginning to end is, you know, personally for me is a treat, because I think it just really tells a great story. I mean, it's not like there is a story in it to be followed, but I mean, just the differences in the songwriting, or how really introspective they are. Days Like These, there's something about that song. I mean, to me personally, just sort of sets the whole thing up. I mean, I'll just kind of listen to that song if I want to get in the groove and I'm feeling a little mean. You know, but then you go to a song like California, and you know that he wrote that song from his heart, right? I mean, it just feels like, you know, it's funny, I put all these songs about California on a drive just to listen to. So I put Joni Mitchell's California, Going to California, Led Zeppelin. I mean, and then I put this one on, and a number of different California songs. And I was driving through Laurel Canyon, listening to it, and it was really fun. I was just like, it just felt like it fit. The antithesis of that, of course, is Ain't Nothing New in New York City, you know, which of course is a place that he loves dearly, but I just love the attitude of that song.
When Jeff first played Holy Hotel for me, and I knew right then that this needed a string section. And I remember I wrote a string feature section that's right in the middle of the track. And the musicians came to do the session. And I brought in Stephen Ships from University of Michigan, Danae Witter, and Barney Culver for this little string trio, violin, viola, cello. And I'd left to go get everybody coffee. I came back to these three rehearsing in the space we recorded, and it completely floored me. They were able to achieve a depth, reach a depth that I didn't even fathom was possible when I was writing it.
The music's always been there. It's always been a part of what I've done. I went to New York City in 1976, and I bought a Guild D40 from Herb David's guitar shop in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I threw it in the back of the car, and at 21 years old, moved to New York City to be an actor. But in that apartment was that guitar. That guitar became my best friend.
I'm in the mood to make some deathbed decisions, maybe just a little last request. Got a front row seat on the edge of the ledge, and I frankly ain't feeling my best. And it's on days like these, days like these. Yes, it's on days like these.